It's Wednesday, May 6th of 2020, and it's another on my way to work because I want to get out of the house. Kind of Guy's Daily Drive. And welcome everyone to Guy's Daily Drive. Once again, I forgot to announce that I was doing this on the Facebooks before I left the house today. I'm very sorry about that. I've got to do better at that. And the other thing you may notice, at least if you're watching this live, is that everything is kind of reversed, because if I swap it over to the way that it should be, the whole screen turns green. I don't know if it's recording green, but that's the way it looks. Don't know if that's a bug in Facebook or if that's a bug in this phone, but that's what happens. And it only happens when I do Facebook Live. But what I'm here to talk about today, I've got not one, but two beach stories. And they're both from a long, long time ago, early 70s. Now, even though I grew up in Fort Lauderdale and our house was roughly 3 miles from the ocean, the rest of the family was not quite so lucky. So when we would have these big family reunions, most of the time we would have them in Nags Head, North Carolina, right there on the Outer Banks. And it used to drive my mother crazy, because it would take us, and remember, this is the days before I-95 was even completed, so we had to make detours onto 301 and Route 1 and the Turnpike and all kinds of things just to head north on these big sections where I-95 wasn't completed yet. So, wow, almost saw an accident. So, one year, it was myself and my parents and all my brothers and sisters who are older than I am, and some of them had kids that were my age. But we all meet up in Nags Head. And one of the things that I used to just love about Nags Head, it's not as true anymore. There used to be this really fantastic sandbar that went like the whole length of the Outer Banks, and you would get these waves that would come up that would hit the sandbar, and these waves would just rise up 6 to 10 feet high. And it was glorious, and we didn't have surfboards or anything like that. We had like these vinyl inflatable rafts, and we would ride these waves. So we're at the beach, and I'm here at Krispy Kreme, but I'm going to finish this story before I go and get the donuts, and then you guys that are watching it live can watch me get donuts at Krispy Kreme. Isn't that a thrill? The thing we would do is we would go out past the sandbar, and it's sometimes during low tide, the water would be barely, just a little more than ankle deep. So these waves would come up and hit these sandbars and just rise right up. It was great. So I'm riding this one wave in, and you would get excuse me, you would get like two breaks. You would get one break out right when the wave hit the sandbar, and then you get another break when the wave would hit the beach. So I'm riding this wave in, and I got just a little behind it. I was still being propelled forward, but I was just a little bit behind it. So when it started to rise back up, right at the as it was like hitting the beach, I ended up on the top of the wave, and then just as it broke, I went straight down the front of the wave. And when that happened, the raft I was on hit the beach, got pulled behind me, and my chin got stuck in the sand while the rest of my body was pushed forward. And it could have been very serious. I could have broken my neck, but then at the last minute, of course, my chin came out of the sand and I just got rough and tumbled. And I got up and I'm like, oh, my neck was really hurting, really, really bad. And my nephew, who was like 6 months younger than me, he's standing there and he is just laughing. He thinks that this is the funniest thing that he's ever seen. And he was laughing so hard, and I didn't bother to tell him because he was laughing at me, that there was another wave about to break right on top of him. And sure enough, that's what happened. So while he's standing there pointing and laughing, in a bit of, there's a German word for it, and I can't remember the name of it at the top of my head. It doesn't matter. This second wave came and just plowed him right into him, and he just went like, boom, face first right into the sand and got pummeled. Which, of course, if I had been able to, I would have been laughing, but I was still, ooh, so couldn't laugh that hard. But it was funny. Okay, so we're back to Guy's Daily Drive, and my second beach story, which also took place in Nag's Head, a couple of years before the incident I just talked about. This was probably 1968, 1969. We're very young. And one of the things that we used to love to do, now these beach houses were typically 2 to 3 stories with anywhere from 5 to 8 bedrooms. So we would end up in like 2 of these big houses for the entire family. And each married couple would have their own bedroom, and then there would be like a common bedroom, one for the boy kids and one for the girl kids. And that was where we all would sleep. So we're at the beach, and this particular year, one of the things that we enjoyed doing, and I don't really see them that much anymore, was fly these balsa wood gliders. Now, if you don't know what those are, it was basically this like preformed wood, very, very light. I don't know if there's actually a tree called balsa trees, but this wood was really super light, probably preformed. And there was the main body, and then you would put on a tail. You would put on, where are you going? You would put on the tail wing, and of course, then you would slide the wing itself through the body. And if you wanted it to curve or bend, you would manipulate the tail wing and the other wings, like kind of moving back and forth. And depending on how you do that, they would like bank or what have you. But we usually went for distance. Now the deluxe ones would also have a plastic propeller and a rubber band with 2 little hooks. There'd be a hook on one end of the plane and a hook on the other end of the plane. And this rubber band through these hooks was attached to the propeller. So once you put the rubber band in place and the propeller was in place, you would twist the propeller and wind the rubber band. And then with the little plastic wheels that these things would have, you could put it on the ground, let it go, and the propeller would move it forward, and the lift from the wings would take it up into the air just like a real plane. And it was fun. But what we would do is we would go to like the top floor of these beach houses and fly them off of there, because the flight would be much longer. Now, granted, it was of course a pain in the neck, because wherever the plane landed, you had to climb down the stairs of the beach house, 2-3 floors, and then oh crap, hold on. And then try to find your plane. My donuts just fell off the back seat. That's not a good thing. Hopefully they're not damaged. So this one time, we were up there on the third floor of this house, and we have our rubber band propelled gliders, balsa wood gliders. And we've wound them just about to the point where if we wind them much more, the rubber band's going to break. And we were launching them off of this balcony deck that was there. And almost all of these houses at the time, there was like one main road that went through Nag's Head, and most of the houses were on either side of this road. Now, it's very different now, because that one main road is now almost a secondary road to a 4-lane road that kind of goes the length of the main part of Nag's Head. So all the traffic would be on this one road. So we're letting our gliders go, and just as I let mine go, I saw out of the corner of my eye that there was a tractor trailer coming down the main drag, and my plane took off from the balcony, flew for a little bit, and then did like a beeline toward this truck and hit it right in the windshield. So as soon as that happened, I guess the guy driving the truck freaked out, slammed on his brakes, and you could hear, if you've ever heard a semi-tractor trailer that has slammed on its brakes, it's kind of a unique sound. You'll hear the rubber tires kind of skipping as it attempts to slow down this behemoth of a truck. And the guy jumps out of the car, and he's looking around to see where this plane came from. Of course, as soon as we saw that it hit the truck, we all ducked down under the balcony. And fortunately, the houses that we were in, there was a bunch of them in that area. So he couldn't be sure where the plane had come from. And we were smart enough not to make any noise until we were sure that guy had left. He was super pissed. And and I'm not really sure if he had even known where the plane had come from, that he would have come, storming up to the door and demand to speak to the parents of these children that had their balsa wood glider hit his semi-tractor trailer. Because there wasn't any damage, but I think it mostly just scared him. He wasn't expecting it, and who would? You're driving down the highway, and all of a sudden something with a propeller just hits you right in the windshield. So those are my 2 beach stories for today. I'm not sure what I will talk about this afternoon, assuming that I do one on Guy's Daily Drive on the way home. But I would like to say thank you to everyone who has joined me this morning on Guy's Daily Drive, and who also will have downloaded this, watched or listened to it later on. I greatly appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to consume in some ways, means or form Guy's Daily Drive. If you'd like to help support Guy's Daily Drive, Mac to the Future Go, Livecast, or the MyMac.com podcast that I do in Gazmass every weekend. As a matter of fact, Gaz has to get a new microphone, and that is ongoing drama right now. We're not exactly sure what he's going to get. He may get he already has like this Plantronics headphone microphone thing that he can use, but it's not great. It's not really wonderful. It'll work, but it'll work though, and that's the part that matters. So at least we'll be able to do the podcast, which again, that's the part that matters. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. But if you would like to help support me in paying for all the stuff that I need to do Guys Daily Drive and Mac the Future and the MyMac.com podcast, you can become a regular contributor over on Patreon, patreon.com/MacParrot. You can do like a one-time donation, coffee.com, ko-fi.com/MacParrot, or you can go to, oh, come on, dude, you can go to paypal.me/MacParrot. See, you got to pay attention. Even when doing Guys Daily Drive, people will do stupid things. So those are all the different ways you can support me. Please watch the Mac of the Future. I'm doing a Mac of the Future Go live cast tonight on Facebook at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with David Ginsburg and Lawrence Sklar. And that is going to about do it. Reach me, Guy, at mymac.com, twitter.com, MacParrot, VertShark. That's about it. I say again, we will see you all next time, hopefully maybe this afternoon, right here on Guys Daily Drive. Bye. That's it, guys. Thanks for joining me this morning. We'll see you later. Bye.